We will now call the December 17th Common Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Alderman Kirkowski.
Here.
Lorik.
Here.
Ritz.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Gale.
Here.
Guzekowski.
Here. Everybody please rise for the pledge. Catherine, you want to start?
Certainly. Pledge allegiance.
That will get us to the approval of minutes of December 3rd, 2014. I'll give you all a few moments to take a look. When you're satisfied, there's no discussion, errors, omissions, or corrections. Motion, please.
Bill, move to approve minutes of 12/3/2024. Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Abstain.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye. Yep. Aye. Sorry. Just thinking of something else. Got him. Item 4 is consideration of an ordinance related to the room tax for hotels, motels to repeal and recreate section 3.40 sub D 2, 3.40 sub D 3, and 3.40 sub D 4, the municipal code. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Max.
Thank you, Mayor. Max Gagan, Deputy City Administrator and Finance Officer. So before you tonight is ordinance number 3114, and this updates the city's room tax ordinance, specifically as it relates to its processing as well as penalties. So in recent years, the city's just seen an increase in the number of hotel and motel properties becoming delinquent on room taxes, which does have some negative consequences from the city, from lost interest earnings or delaying our month-end or year-end closeout when it comes to financial reporting. And certainly just having a large outstanding tax liability puts the city at risk should those properties just not pay at all. So if you look at the ordinance, there's really 3 sections that are being requested to change. The first section is just correcting a typographical error for the code reference for Wisconsin statute. The second section is changing the reporting frequency from quarterly to monthly. So just for this group's awareness, businesses are required to report their sales tax to the state monthly, so it's not out of the ordinary to do monthly reporting. And actually, the state requires monthly sales tax reports due on the 20th day of the month, whereas ours is around the 30th. So shouldn't create any additional harm or burden because these businesses already have to do these reports and they have to submit the sales tax report to us for the hotel motel too. So and again, that's really to just reduce the outstanding liability and minimize that delinquency risk. Because if we're waiting quarterly and then the property's delinquent, then there's the potential that there's 3 months outstanding for any given time. So just shortening that, and then implementing a late fee penalty equal to 25% of taxes owed or $5,000, whichever or less. Currently, our penalty is $10. So just trying to create, I guess, more of an incentive for compliance with the city's room tax ordinance. There are some supplemental materials that were provided to you. One was just kind of a survey of peer communities across southeast Wisconsin and looking at their room tax rates and collections. And one of the things you'll see is if you exclude Milwaukee, Oak Creek, it collects the 3rd largest amount of room taxes in all of southeast Wisconsin. Brookfield being the largest, and then Wauwatosa being the 2nd. So we collect about $1.55 million, probably break $1.6 million this year. And we do report quarterly, but you'll see that many communities do require monthly reporting. And actually, the largest community or largest collection that still requires quarterly reporting is West Bend. They collect about 1/3 of the taxes that Oak Creek does. So now that our hotel motel industry is really growing and we're starting to collect more receipts, just thought it was really incumbent upon us to update our ordinance to best practice. And then you can also see if they offer penalties and discounts and what are. And then the other slide, or the other piece of material I had for you is just looking at the past 4 years on our room tax collections. Just tells you how many filers we have each quarter and how many filers are late. And you can see that even during, late 2020, early 2021, really didn't have many delinquencies. And that's really at the height of COVID when these businesses were experiencing cash flow issues. And, since we've gotten past that, you can see that those delinquencies have really risen in the past 2 to 3 years. And if you just look at an average of the past 3 years, about 17% of properties are delinquent. And when I say delinquent, meaning more than 5 days past due. So, with that, I'm happy to answer any questions common council may have.
Thank you, Max. Questions for Max regarding the hotel tax?
I have a question
Go
today.
ahead, Lisa.
So with it moving to monthly, would then the penalty be assessed monthly?
Yes, if a property is delinquent.
Okay. That was unclear.
Anyone else? Nothing? No, I really think this is fair. It levels the playing field for those that are good stewards and pay their fair share. I know this is hotel motel, but lately we've also collected Airbnbs. Are Airbnbs included in this as well?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Excellent. If there's no further discussion, questions?
Just
Anything,
of
Lisa?
interest,
No, go ahead.
how many of the 18 are Airbnbs?
So the way it works is that Airbnbs and other like companies report as one entity. So Airbnb is one of 18.
18, okay.
Priceline is one of 18. Expedia is one of the 18. So I say filers because they're not all specifically properties.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing further, motion.
Bill move to approve ordinance number 3114 relating to the room tax for hotels and motels to repeal and recreate sections 3.40 sub D 2, 3.40 sub D 3, and 3.40 D sub D 4 of the municipal code.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye. And item 5 is to consider a motion to concur with the mayor's appointment of Donald J. Gockwin, 435 West Aspen Drive, to the Police and Fire Commission, filling a 5-year term vacancy expiring 4 of 27. You do have the application in your packet, and if there's any questions, please take the floor. If there's no discussions or questions, motion please.
Bill move to concur with the mayor's appointment of Donald J. Gackwin, 435 West Aspen Drive, to the Police and Fire Commission, filling a 5-year term vacancy expiring April of 2027.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Ritz.
And item 6 is marketing and public relations, and it is consideration of a motion to approve an agreement with Citywide Software LLC. And Andrew, I understand you're going to take it.
Yeah, I'll start with this one. We had a few staff from different departments working on this or assessing it. But if it pleases you, Mayor, I would just like to generally introduce this concept here and turn it over to Mr. Anzalone for a better presentation than I can give.
Perfect.
And then after some Q&A, if the council, if you'd like to move forward, we can talk about the specific points of the agreement later on. Okay? So really, what we were approached with is an opportunity for, I guess, collateralizing the city's website with the ability to list rental properties available in this geography specific to the city of Oak Creek. What we've found is a lot of the larger property listing entities that you might know of, rent.com, apartments.com, national brands, usually cater specifically to those with volumes of units. That makes sense for those with higher number unit counts, really, to be able to afford those advertising fees. What this software is really trying to do is provide an equitable way for all properties to be listed in a specific geography. Some of you have been moving kids in and out of college. A companion, if I'm saying that correctly, a companion to this newer software is College Pads, which was Dom's company as well. So talk about the corollaries between that and the city. Really, UW-Madison as an example, UW-Madison on their college homepage provides really a link to the available nearby college rentals using, I think, the benefit of the SEO of the city of Oak Creek popping up every time, using the strength of the city's homepage, and in that case UW-Madison's homepage, to get folks where they need to be in the community looking for these rental listings. A very brief overview, but I think Dom can do a much better job of describing what the benefits are, some of his other municipal clients. But this is relatively new, and
Yep.
we're kind of taking a pilot approach together on this. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it over to Dom if it pleases you.
Please.
Okay.
I think that was pretty good, by the way. Dominic Anzalone, I'm the CEO of Citywise Software. I think to make the story make sense, I'll start from the beginning. 13 years ago in college, I started a company called College Pads. And basically, the premise of that product was that we would partner with universities to build rental directories for universities to help students find housing. Before that, it was kind of like the Wild West. You would just call the biggest landlord in the city, and they would put you in whatever they had. And if it was bad or good, it didn't matter. That's all you really had as a choice. And so we thought we could solve it by putting every landlord onto one platform. And the reason we could solve it versus the private sector solving it, as far as like an apartments.com or a rent.com or Zillow, was because we would leverage the university branding to do it. So at UW-Madison, as an example, we used the university logo and domain, and it allowed us to bring every landlord in the entire market onto one platform. And we got more students to use the platform in the first year than we thought lived off campus. Today, we're on almost every university in the country. There's about 5 million students a year that find their apartment on these university platforms. We're still based right here in Milwaukee. I'm from Racine. So I plan on keeping the company here. That's why I reached out to Mayor Dan in the beginning to kind of pilot this out. So far, we've done this partnership with Kenosha, with Mayor Bugdala. We've done it with Greenfield. Greendale was approved tonight. And so you would be the fourth city to do this. We want to use it as like an example of how many people we can help and I guess spread that across the country once we can prove that model out. But I think leveraging the Oak Creek brand, we can go out and we can get every single apartment in the city onto this platform, the same way we would with universities across the country. Today, if you go on to like an apartments.com and you look at the options in Oak Creek, all you're going to find is the luxury apartments that spend $40,000 to $50,000 a year on advertising their apartment building. The market we're targeting is, we want them too, but we want to get the middle market and the lower market mom and pops to participate. And we're going to do that by making it either free for them or charging them $10 to be on the platform instead of $30,000 to be on the platform. So we're going to go out and meet with every single property group face to face to onboard them onto this platform. Then it'll be number one on Google when you search for Oak Creek Apartments. And so we think the numbers are going to be pretty substantial when we come back here in a year and present it to you all. We'll be able to show how many renters went to lower income, middle income, and the expensive stuff. And you can report that to the press if you want. You can use it to, I guess, showcase the city. I think it's a win for landlords. I think it's a win for renters. And I think, and I guess one more point is we want to use city data possibly in the future to show renters about code enforcement data on properties. So I think today, if you're going to sign a year lease on an apartment, you're flying blind. Basically, you have no idea if the property's in good standing with the city or not. And I think we can solve that issue by putting code enforcement data on each property. So that's the Kenosha site there that Marcia has pulled up. You can see how we use the City of Kenosha logo. The domain's apartments.kenosha.org, which is the city domain. On every listing, you can click to see the code enforcement data. Eventually, we're going to pull that data in better, but they just redid their code enforcement page, so we don't have that functioning totally the way we want it to. We have like an affordable housing filter at the top where the city could list their government subsidized units. That's what Kenosha is doing. And you can search for amenities and price points. And eventually we'll have neighborhood guides and things like that in there. So I think not only does it help renters, I think it's showcasing the city's amenities. If you're thinking about living in Oak Creek, this is kind of like a sales pitch for a renter to come live here. I think it shows, the affordability. It'll show the great apartment buildings that are coming in and building. And it'll give you transit information and things like that. So I guess, yeah, any questions on any part of that? Anybody?
So businesses would be able to use this for new employees coming in, that have a one-stop shop?
Exactly. So they could just say, Oak Creek has a platform that they do this, and they could share it with their employees to go on and find housing.
Greg?
Well, do you allow single property owners, just somebody renting their home out, to be on the platform?
Yep.
And it sounded like you said you go out to all the property owners to get them to sign up. Do you find homes that are for rent and approach the one person that owns the home?
Yeah, so that's a huge target. So the goal is to get the mom and pops, we call them. So people with one house or 5 units or 10 units to participate on the platform. And so we will go out and meet with those people face to face. And then we will update the information for them onto the platform, or they'll have a dashboard where they can update it. And if you're a big enough property group, we tie into their property management software, so it updates the site automatically. But every listing that comes in the platform has to go through our team. So in 13 years of running college pads, as an example, we've never had any fraud on the site or any scams that have ever happened. And I think one more point to make, in 13 years, there's never been a threat of a lawsuit or anything that's ever happened negatively towards the university or towards us.
Are these all longer-term leases, or are there short-term rentals offered at all?
All we're putting on here is longer-term leases, so not like Airbnbs, for example. Basically, with the agreement, which we kind of took everything that Kenosha originally negotiated into their agreement, which is really friendly toward the city, since they were the first city to do it. And we're holding the city harmless from a lot of things. So it takes most of the risk off the table. We carry all the insurances you would need to back that up. There's no term on the agreement, so the city could cancel this agreement within an hour's notice, and we'd have to take it down, or the city could take it down. So we wanted to make it so there's zero risk for the city to participate in this. Again, with college pads in 13 years, there's never been a school that took down the site. So I think the probability is low, but I just wanted to eliminate, any potential of risk for the city.
I see the tab on this site for affordable housing. Is that something that lists official affordable housing units, or are you setting a price point and determining what's affordable on your own?
In this situation, that's actually government subsidized housing. Every city won't have that, but Kenosha has subsidized housing, so we put that filter there for them. So, market rate affordable housing, when we categorize the data, you'll be able to see that price point, and we usually, we'll find a tier to set that at. So,
Dominic, do you identify senior housing?
we do, yep. So if you click on type right there, Marcia, I guess we don't have senior housing on there yet, but usually for every university site, we have senior housing that we would identify. And so here we would do the same thing.
So we have a facility across the street, the Waters, where it's independent living. There's also some forms of assistance if needed. They go on the site as well if they choose.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That'll be a key target for us to go after.
You talked about reporting. You said about coming back and reporting next year on success. Is that, but I didn't see that in the contract. Is that in every year
Yeah, so we would be willing to come back every year and present the data. Otherwise, the city would have a dashboard where they could just see that data anytime as well.
Would that be controlled by Marcia? Who controls that? Okay. And then the second question I had is actually for Thomas. I'm sorry. The integration with the city's website, do you have any concerns about letter J? Do you need to read it? Sorry.
Oh, good. Yeah, go ahead.
No, no concerns about that.
Okay, thank you.
I actually think it's very valuable to people that are looking to relocate here. I just had a resident living in Oak Creek looking for a different style space, asked for my advice. Believe me, this site could be far more valuable than my advice. So, I think it's a good amenity for anybody looking to.
Yeah, and this will be housed off of our website, so people will be able to access it by jumping from our website to theirs. So it's housed on their platforms, but there will be that link, so it will look seamless to the city as a service that we're providing to potential residents with current.
If we pass it tonight, how long before it's up and running?
Could be up tomorrow, so it's already all built and ready to go.
That's confidence. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's ready to go. I think, the hard part about the launch is we have to go and meet up with every single property group in the city, and that could take a few months to get
That's
done.
okay, I
Yeah.
understand.
And then one more piece, I think that's important. When you come to the site, we make it clear to the renters that we're not endorsing or promoting any property in the city. So when you land on the page, we give them that waiver. So if you click find Kenosha Apartments there, Marcia, you'll see the waiver. So we make them all click, I understand that we're not endorsing or promoting any of these properties on the site. And then we list all properties in the city equally. So we don't let any landlord pay to be promoted higher than another. We don't want to be seen as promoting any landlord in the city. So they're all equals. And every time you come in, it'll completely scramble all that data on the site.
And that disclaimer comes up every single time you click a listing.
Yep.
So it's not just the first time you visit and then you navigate through. It's really every time you bring one up. So
Been
some
vetted by a
belt,
few.
belt and suspenders. Mayor, if I could just touch a
Yes.
little bit more on the agreement. We didn't want to lead with this being some sort of big revenue generator. There is some revenue sharing along with this agreement. We don't really have any data on how this will work given that, or what that will be given this is a pilot. But I just think the data, we don't know a lot of places that are actually rental properties in the community if we don't see them on a platform such as this. They can't afford where you're going to, find on the top 10 websites that pop up. We're a community with a very healthy mix of owner-occupied and leased residences in this community. So I think just knowing the affordability of those rental properties over time and how that changes and some of the data that we can get from this platform, I think will be helpful to make other decisions we may have or other discussions ongoing in the community with a strategic plan or economic development. So I think that's really important. Some of the additional, I'd imagine this is going to grow and evolve, and some of those potentials out there, Dom had mentioned code enforcement. We didn't want to sell you on that because we don't know if that's going to be for us. Our affordable housing, we're not involved in that. So while there may be, 8 or 9 other things, even as of today, let alone what could be tomorrow, that we can look into, we're really just trying to get started with the agreement and get the listings out there and see where the relationship goes. And lastly, we looked at this from a legal liability and a cyber standpoint, and we brought it forward after all of those staff had some input. But again, it's within an hour we give notice and they take the site down, and we're back to where we were yesterday. So we feel it's a pretty low risk approach here.
Not a question on the agreement, but the functionality, I guess, of the website is is there a reason people give for putting contact for price versus actually listing a price?
Yeah, we try to get them to put price in most of the time. I think, no, I don't know why they don't do it. Sometimes they just want people to call them, I think, so they can talk to them and try to sell them on the unit, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, any other discussions, questions? Okay, seeing none, bless you.
Thank you.
Be a motion on item 6.
Marshall moved to approve the agreement with Citywide Software LLC.
Guzekowski, I'll second.
Roll call?
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Fritz. Marshall.
Aye.
And item 7 is consideration of a motion to approve the sponsorship and donation policy. Marcia?
Thank you. So you have the opportunity here to approve sponsorship and donation policy. This went to the Personnel and Finance Committee on December 11th. The goal of this policy predates me. Andrew actually asked me to dig into this, look at some comparatives, put together a sponsorship and donation policy that would guide the city. So over the past few years, Celebrations Committee, Farmers Market, events, even some others have gone to different supporters throughout the community, a lot of our businesses, and everybody's kind of been operating on their own. And so what this does is this brings this all together in somewhat of a sales pipeline, we could call it. It's not that every department will need to go to us and have us handle it, but just so that we have that coordination and communication. There are some dollar limits also because some of staff have, been soliciting donations all the way up to $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. And so we just want to make sure that we're understanding who's doing that with what organizations, just to try to keep everything coordinated. We did vet this with police, fire, and library, all of whom have either continuing donations, grants, or other sorts of operations. This would not impact National Night Out or Friends of the Library. Those are separate 501c3 organizations. So really, this policy is, like I said, to organize and structure the process, to give a more professional approach, so 3 people from the city aren't all asking Summit Credit Union for money all at the same time. It's kind of centralized through us.
Wonderful. Very badly needed. You explained it very well. I was a big fan of helping get some sort of policy on this. I myself actually am out there saying, yeah, if you want to help us, great. And then I turn it over to a department. Matt, you've been part of it. We had a generous donation for a trailer that serves DPW and things like that. But there's really no fast and hard set rules as to what you can offer and what you get.
Right.
And we're too big not to have something like this.
Right, and just, do you mind?
No,
I'm
not at
sorry.
all,
I didn't mean
please.
to cut you off. Just related to that, so over the past few years, we have had a sponsorship book, but that hasn't necessarily been followed. That's the other thing. This allows us, my department, to be able to make sure that whatever we promise going out as recognition for donations or sponsorships are actually received. So that part of it is very important to keep people happy and make sure we're recognizing them appropriately. So I have here just a sample of this year's sponsorship. This is the final draft, so it may change a little bit. But we have included, we've worked with the Celebrations Commission on having a page for them for July 4th. And we are structuring what everyone gets based on their donation amount, having some different themed sponsorships. This is a new one that we may talk about at a later date. But we're bringing back the Summer Solstice Music Festival in 2025, offers the opportunity for sponsorships as well. And this just will allow my department, in fact, our new hire, Alex, has already set up in our management system each of these sponsorships so that whenever we sell one, we can track that we are making sure that the person is getting signage at the event, making sure that they're getting X number of recognitions on social media or on the website. So this is what we're going to follow a little bit more wholeheartedly. This year, there's a lot of money here, and we don't anticipate selling out every single sponsorship, but it allows us also the ability to have a little bit more flexibility with what we can do with our sponsorships without being, with our events, without it being too much of a burden on tourism commission or city resources.
I'm going to ask that you give just a brief kind of cycle, and I know you haven't been through a full cycle here, but how you envision this fundraising cycle over the course of like a year with, leading with this booklet. But first, I'd just like to say, I think we took a real shotgun approach to this over the last several years when everything kind of Drexeltown Square started, and then we had all of this other stuff other than, the 4th of July celebration, and then maybe one or two other things that we did. Farmers Market 26 weeks a year, and the whole social calendar that we've come to love. And a lot of well-intentioned staff going out, trying to make these events happen and kind of utilize the relationships in the community and the goodwill of our businesses to help offset some of those. And we got the relationship part down, and we never want to lose the relationship part. But as you see in the policy, each sponsor donation requires a sponsorship agreement. Those folks, the people giving these donations do need a little bit of a transactional element. They need to know that what they signed up for, they received, and we'll give them some awesome data with the hope of the giving continues because it's a benefit and they can see the benefit of them doing that, or, somebody at the office can see the benefit of them doing that. So I think that's a really good piece. So I'm happy to have some guide rails here finally and really kind of reeling this back in a little bit. It's going to be much more smooth moving forward. But if you wouldn't mind how you envision the life cycle or the annual cycle of this, and maybe where your staff and you kind of work together on this.
Sure. Well, one of the first things, as I came in, I noticed different staff handling things differently, including those agreements or what was passing for agreements. And so we are now going to be having those be consistent across all of the events. And then also being able to have people work together as a team is really important. So rather than placing all of that relationship development and follow through on a single staff member who maybe took the sponsorship, now it will be the responsibility of our entire marketing and public relations team and their specific roles to make sure that we're doing what we say we're going to do. So what my goal is to get the digital version finalized before the end of the year, printed version about the middle of the year. We will email to any of our existing relationships who do not require a printed version. There are a number of existing relationships who we will call on in person, especially because there's a couple of them that are nice and more pricey options that I want to meet. And I want to make sure that also, just from contingency planning, right? One staff member doesn't own a relationship, that it's a relationship with the city across our department. And so I'd like to meet with some of the different people who we've been getting, 5,000 here, 6,000 here, 3,000 there from, and see how we can work together with them to better maximize the investment that they've been giving to the city so they get the most bang for their buck also, because they want something out. There are some people that I'm sure you all can think of specifically whose names you see a lot. And so then there's also a level within the sponsorship where staff can act on their own. So, for example, Farmers Market, Dawn, if she has somebody, I think Educators Credit Union always sponsors Apple Day. She can be able to go ahead and secure that sponsorship because it's below a certain level. If there's others that rise above another level, then she would need to involve either myself or Alex but at least if I knew about it, just because of the dollar amounts involved. So that's kind of how we're looking at it, is doing a call on existing sponsors. We have a number of companies that have reached out to us who are either new to the area or who have just seen what the city does and just thinks that these events, all the ladies who have done the events have done such a great job, and DPW supporting us. And so it really has created buzz, and people want to get involved. And so those, again, will probably be more personal contacts, whether it's by phone, Zoom, or showing up at their business with a meeting where we can talk about all the options for them.
I'm concerned about the time frame, because you're talking 6 months. I'm thinking this is a Q1 priority.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Just to print it is 6 months. The
Yeah.
digital will be ready.
Yeah, the digital, well, this is final draft. Of course, there will be something wrong with it when we get it printed. But that's how marketing goes. But yeah, this will be done by the end of the year. The printing should take about 2 weeks. So we can be out there, and so many of these businesses we know already, so picking up the phone and saying, hey, we've got our new sponsorship book, we'd love to come in and talk to you. We'll have it. We'll at least have some good idea of direction that people are going. We have people waiting on us to find out what we're offering, so.
You said
It's
middle
not
of,
sales generation 101.
you were
so.
thinking middle of January, not middle of the year, right?
Oh,
for
did
the
I
print?
say
Yeah.
middle of the
June,
year?
Yeah.
I was thinking that's a long lead
stroke
time for
moment.
printing.
Yeah, no,
I think
no,
that's where
middle
we're
of the year.
confused.
And,
No,
and,
Okay.
I mean, middle of January, yeah, sorry.
and
I said it again.
And I think historically we've targeted like mid-November for this, or like right before or right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
so we're not too far
next
off
year will
with
be better.
the reboot of this.
I think
New
that the-
people.
If I remember, priority was when we last had the organization was for budget planning for businesses, they wanted before year end. That'd be the goal, to get it October, November.
Yeah, moving forward, it will, and some of those businesses we've already had conversations with, and they kind of know what's coming. We just don't have an agreement and the official numbers out to them yet. We wanted to give them something pretty.
I'm concerned with the part of the program that you said that based on the amount of money that people will be able to go out on their own, and you gave an example. Wasn't that the whole reason that we created this program, so that people wouldn't go out on their own
Okay,
and solicit
yeah.
contributions?
Let me correct myself then. It doesn't mean that they can independently just go to whoever they want, but all of the contacts need to flow through our department and me like a sales funnel, but then making that one-on-one call is fine. But the agreements will be coming from marketing, and all the fulfillment will be coming from marketing. And so there will be transactional opportunities. But let's face it, a lot of our staff already own those relationships, so to pull that away now might not be the best option either. So, yeah, we're not going to be,
But it is based
I don't
on
have-
those
I-
prior relationships.
yes.
I understand the position about prior relationships and contacts and so on and so forth. But there's a new way of doing things with this policy, and employee A, who may have a contact with a credit union, needs to understand that it needs to go through marketing and public relations, and that person can't arbitrarily go out there and do this stuff.
Right.
I thought we were creating this policy so that your office would be going out and doing this stuff. So my feelings is, if employee A has a relationship with a credit union and have gone there year after year, while they may still have that personal contact, it's no longer their job. It's your job and your staff's job to go out there and say, we are continuing this relationship with the city and this employee, but we now have a policy in the city that we want to make sure that you don't get hit up multiple times
Right.
from other employees. So while I love the policy, I don't think anybody outside of your office should be doing this work, because this is one of your department's job.
Heard.
So
Heard.
Yeah.
And the example that I used is part of my department.
Okay.
So,
let's be blunt. Dawn from the farmer's market should not be going out and soliciting any contributions. It should be your department doing that on behalf of farmer's market. Or,
yes.
yes.
Yes. She is part of my department, and we are working together on this moving
Okay.
forward.
As long as that's understood.
Yep, we got
Do I have
you.
it right? Did I misunderstand?
No, you're
Nope.
right.
We got you.
I think the part is whether, it's celebrations, farmer's market, cafe representative, whoever it is, they're kind of an extension of Marcia's department. They can be assigned to go out there and start that conversation. And if the conversation rises to the level where they can just say, great, we'll take the X amount of dollars, it's done. If somebody goes, I want to step it up, boom, then it goes up to another level probably.
And even when they get the yes on a lower level amount of money, it still needs to come in through me
Contract's
or
gotta come through.
Alex to generate the agreement and to ensure fulfillment. So there is still that check and balance there.
All right. Thank you.
Again, at least everything is all in one box, so to speak. For a while, everybody was in these silos. Some people were getting a lot. We were looking for fireworks sponsorships, and it was all tied up elsewhere in other things. Whatever the cause was, whatever they picked, and it just made no sense because in some cases maybe the money wasn't needed here.
And one other thing, I know that National Night Out and Friends of the Library are not part of the program based on their status. And I mentioned this at Personnel and Finance. Well, that's the way it's set up. I suggested at the meeting, and I'll suggest it again tonight to you, because that if National Night Out and Friends of the Library say want to go to a credit union for something, they should at least have the courtesy of contacting you and say, we'd like to do this. I know we're not part of your program, but that is almost was part of the problem to begin with, but they are not. I know I'm like a word salad here, I understand. But I don't want them to feel they can't go, but we should know they are going, and they should know that we have a program, and you just never know what may develop out of that relationship.
Goal
Just
out of-
call it deconfliction in
Yeah.
my prior world.
Right. The goal for this is over the next cycle that we do become that centralized go-to, knowing what relationships we have, who's looking to partner with the city more, so that, and even develop those relationships with Friends of the Library and National Night Out, even though they operate independently, so that we can support them. It's not even about them coming to us, so that we can support them in any way that they need it as well, so.
I think it's a great start.
Greg?
So the policy seems to be focused on a lot of city events and sponsoring tables and signs and things of that nature. And I agree with all this. It's definitely necessary. And my question may be completely off base, and if so, tell me. Different subject, and we'll move on. But would this policy cover any really bigger picture type items? I know when I travel with my kids for sports and things to different communities, they have field houses with company names on them and community pools and parks with company names on them. I'm a huge proponent for a dog park sponsored by a local pet company for Oak Creek. Would this policy cover something larger like that?
If that's more of naming rights and we purposefully stayed away from that, I'll let Andrew comment if he would like to.
There are other frontiers, as you suggest, but I think staff a couple years ago started discussing naming rights for things or small donations to parks, Eagle Scouts, projects and things. It seemed rather endless when it came down to it. So I think what really the differentiation between the sponsorship and the donation is you're not asking for anything in return. and this sponsorship has a transactional element to it. Could we foresee somebody wanting to provide a donation, but it's also, I'd like to honor my mother by putting something in the park? If it doesn't fit within this policy, that's something we would just bring forward to you. But we were not trying to hit we were really trying to pin this process down. Because that is there's a lot of other that could be, you know, a lot of generosity that could not be covered by this, by this policy, certainly.
But good question, Greg. And just like for an example, the flag sculpture that's in the square was donated by the Gruno Company for their 100th anniversary as an addition to the Stars on the Square program. So when something like that would come up, it would probably come for consideration through Park and Rec. Actually, probably start with us. So not to say that larger sponsorships couldn't be taken into account, for a dog park or whatever might come our way.
Not a perfect answer, but we did have some conversation and wanted to keep this specific to the 99% of the, you know, routine things we're going to be encountering.
But I think Andrew's explanation between sponsorship and donation, expectation, something in return. Actually, Gruno was probably more of a donation. Okay, I like it. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, motion.
Ritz will, oh, go ahead.
No.
Ritz will move to approve the sponsorship and donation policy.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
And item 8 is Public Works and Utility. It's consideration of a motion to reject the sole bid from Lee Mechanical for the HVAC replacement project at the water treatment plant based on the bid amount $987,500, an alternative 1 bid of $19,375, an alternative 2 bid of $3,800. That particular project number was 23109. With us is Brian Johnston from Water. How are you, Brian?
Good evening. Brian Johnson, utility engineer for, so we're here for the HVAC project. We were looking to reject this bid. We received 1 bid on it. We had 3 primes that were at our walkthrough prior to bidding. We had a 4th prime that had plans. I've talked to 2 of them personally. They basically said they didn't have enough time to get a good bid package put together for us. So our hope and goal here is we'll reject this bid. We'll get this back out after the first of the year, give them extra time, and bid this project back out. We did have to go through the PSC process at the utility for the funds to be used for the project. It's over the threshold of $591,000 for the PSC limit. So we were awarded our construction authorization through the PSC for $838,872. So because it's over that limit, we have to reject this, or we need to go back to the PSC in order to get additional funds for approval prior to awarding this project. So that's where we're at.
Any questions,
I
comments?
do.
for Brian?
If you give additional time, put the bid back out again, does the 838,000 with the PSC still stand?
Yes.
Okay.
For a system from 1977, I have to congratulate the water department. I know you've modified and fixed it along the way, but holy smokes.
Yeah, so the guys aren't very happy.
Industrial equipment doesn't go that long. So good
Yeah,
for
we
you.
got to limp along a while longer, keep it running.
Yeah.
The other issue we have is that it's a 6 to 9 month lead time on getting materials. So it just adds to that time frame, and then trying to hit our construction window to do this in the fall, so.
No other questions, comments, motion?
Marshall will move to reject the sole bid from Lee Mechanical for the HVAC replacement project at the water treatment plant based on the bid amount of $987,500 with alternative bid $19,375 and alternative bid 2 of $3,800, project number 23109.
Ritz will second.
Roll call?
Alderman Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick,
Aye.
Ritz,
Aye.
Marshall,
Aye.
Gale,
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye. And item 9 is consideration of a motion to approve the purchase of a new Vermeer BC 1800 XL brush chipper from Vermeer, Wisconsin, the amount of $106,884 through the Sourcewell bid contract. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Common Council. Matt Trebetuski, Director of Public Works. Yes, this was in the 2025 CIP budget. We had budgeted $115,000 for this replacement item of our chipper, of which we have 3 chippers. We have 2 larger units such as this one, as well as a smaller one that we use. That's a little bit easier when we're doing smaller projects just for maneuvering purposes. These are used pretty much year-round for a lot of our forestry operations, whether it's removing trees in the winter or just doing brush pickup throughout the spring, summer, and fall. We keep them pretty busy, as well as any type of storm damage that may occur throughout the year. So we had $115,000 budgeted. We had gotten 2 quotes for a replacement unit, and this would be identical to a unit we replaced about 4 or 5 years ago. Of the 2, the Sourcewell bid pricing was obviously the lower price of $106,884, which fit within the budget amount that we had requested and was appropriated. So we're looking for the council to consider approving that purchase through Sourcewell.
Thank you, Matt. Questions from Matt? Okay, seeing none, motion.
So move to approve the purchase of the new Vermeer BC 1800 XL brush chipper from Vermeer, Wisconsin, in the amount of $106,884 through Sourcewell bid contract.
Marshall, second.
Roll call?
Alderman Lorick,
Aye.
Ritz,
Aye.
Marshall,
Aye.
Gale,
Aye.
Guzekowski,
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye. Okay, item 10 is information technology. It's consideration of a resolution to approve extending the existing IGA between the city of Oak Creek and South Milwaukee for informational technology services by 1 year. And with us is Tom. Tom's always with us. He rarely gets to get up here and speak, though.
This is twice to the podium. Nice night. It's a lot. It's not used to this. Good evening. Just looking to extend the current IGA with South Milwaukee for 1 year. It is a current contract we've had with them since 2020. Our original contract was in 2016. It's a good partnership. We both enjoy working together. No complaints really. So looking to extend it by a year and kind of see where it takes us.
Questions, comments for Tom? No. All I have to say is that the ICC, the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee, Tom's program, along with South Milwaukee, is really a beacon of what governments can do together, municipal governments working together for shared interests and costs and savings on licensing, things like that. And Tom's crew does a tremendous job, not only in Oak Creek, but South Milwaukee as well. And from both former mayor of South Milwaukee and the current, I've heard absolutely 0 complaints on anything that's gone on with this contract pass. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no further discussion. Motion on 10.
Bill will move to approve resolution 1258-121724 to approve extending the existing IGA between the city of Oak Creek and the city of South Milwaukee for informational technology services by 1 year.
Marshall, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz,
Aye.
Marshall,
Aye.
Gale,
Aye.
Guzekowski,
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Item 11 and 12 are engineering, and item 11 is consideration of a resolution accepting the workmanship of Lalonde Contractors, Inc., and authorizing the final contract payment under project number 23013. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor and Common Council. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. Before you is that resolution for accepting the work from Lalonde on the fire station parking lot and authorizing that final contract payment. This was an improvement in their front parking lot where the asphalt was failing. We actually ended up going with concrete, 8 inches thick, 6 inches stone. A lot of our overruns, which was minor, 4% total, were poor subgrade soils that we ran into and some additional curb and gutter that we had to replace as we went through the project. We've done our punch list items. They've completed those. We walked through with Chief Kresick. Have no further actions that need to take place. Answer any questions?
Questions for Matt? Okay, if there's no questions, motion.
Kirkowski will make a motion to adopt resolution number 12539-121724, accepting the workmanship of Lalonde Contractors, Inc., and authorizing final contract payment under project number 23013.
Lorik seconds.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Item 12 is consideration of a resolution approving the funding agreement with MMSD for a PPI mitigation construction project in Rowan Estates subdivision. Matt?
Thank you, Mayor. As you recall, back in March of 2022, Council approved the original Rowan Estates funding agreement with MMSD. This was to cover design cost and construction. Through our process that we've been going through, we've done what they consider a new process. It's wet television. So we waited for certain rain events so we could have more infiltration or potential for the infiltration. As we went through that process, we gathered, pretty significant data. Our designers actually ended up starting going into homes of the volunteering properties, which ended up being actually 42 out of the 70 some. So we actually increased to almost 60%, which is a higher rate than we've had in the past. But what we found, or what they found as they entered these homes, were a lot of major issues, I guess. Hung plumbing from crocks that would go into wastewater crocks, other issues that really need to be addressed to take care of that clear water infiltration. So as we went through the process more with MMSD, they felt it would be necessary for us to remove the construction portion of the original funding agreement and that funding agreement at this year and then create a new one for construction. So we removed, through the process of some change orders and amendments to our original contract, we moved out some of those costs. And then we went into a new agreement, which is before you, to address construction. It is substantial. It's over $1 million is what we have an estimated cost. Right now, within our allocated funds, it's $943,000 approximately. In beginning of 2025, they will allocate another approximately $205,000. That's what we've seen in the past. So that would be able to cover all the funds for the construction that we have anticipated. That would be a small amendment at the beginning of the year, but due to the fact that they need the agreement done before this year for the money that is already allocated, and we cannot roll it over, they've asked for us to move forward with this funding agreement, and then we would go through a change order process at the beginning of the year once those other additional funds were allocated. I'd be happy to answer any questions in regards to this agreement and our project.
Or anybody? No, this is actually a really great program. It's really going to help a lot of our residents. We're really lucky to have a partner in MMSD. Congratulate engineering for really pursuing it and keeping going the extra mile to really pursue that many homes to take part and improve that area.
Thank you. We've had a lot of assistance from Brian with water and sewer utility. He's been a very intricate part, and same with Josie. She's stepping up and learning this process. So it's been kind of a collaborative effort amongst all of our departments.
I know we collaborate with MMSD on quite a few projects. They've been a very good partner of ours, not just here at Drexel Town Square, but just in the residential areas as well.
Yes. Great.
Okay. There's no further discussion, questions. Motion, please.
Marshall moves to adopt resolution number 12540-121724, a resolution approving a funding agreement with MMSD for PPI mitigation construction project in the Rowan Estates subdivision.
Ritzel, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Okay, item 13 is the License Committee. I'd like to turn that over to Alderman Kirkowski.
Thank you, Mayor. I trust everybody's had an opportunity to read the items on tonight's Common Council report. Does anybody have any questions, cares, or concerns? All right, seeing none, Kirkowski make a motion to approve the various license requests as listed on the December 17, 2024 License Committee report.
Bork seconds.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
And item 14 is our vendor summary report, and we're looking for a possible motion to approve December 11th, 2024 vendor summary report, the amount of $908,078.61. So you have the report. If you do have any questions, please just take the floor.
Mayor, all I'd like to say, and I say this lightheartedly with a big smile on my face, but regarding 6, 7, and 8, if we should attach a sticky note that says Merry Christmas when we send out those checks, because time of year, I think those places are probably going to get excited when they see that money, and they probably don't know how to spend it, but it'll be a nice welcome. What's that? See, that's why I said 6, 7, and 8. So. Yep. Well, they should get excited when they see that check, and I hope they spend it well. And I say that lightheartedly. I mean, they're due the money, so it's going to be a good thing.
There's no further questions or comments. Motion?
Marshall will move to approve the December 11th, 2024 vendor summary report in the total of $908,078.61.
Gale second.
Roll call.
Alderman Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye. Okay. As this is our last regular meeting of the Common Council here in the city of Oak Creek, you guys want to say anything? Floor is yours. Steve?
Mayor, I just want to give a quick shout out to a couple of neighbors in my subdivision, Joe and Marge. I know that they are profound viewers of our live stream for the council. They're moving out of our subdivision. You know, you see them walking around every day, even in blizzards. Marge is out there walking, and they've been great neighbors. We talk to them all the time when they walk past the house and about city issues. Great supporters. I appreciate your support over the dozen years. And but they're not leaving the city. They're heading over. They're downsizing from a house to an apartment. So, Chris, they're coming over into your district. So treat them well, because if you don't, they know where I live. Okay? And the mayor knows Joe and Marge too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, good folks.
Good folks, yeah.
Can I just encourage everyone to participate in the Marion Bright campaign that's going on, and make sure you visit the houses and vote?
Anyone else? Okay, I'm just going to end it on this. This has been a really fast year for me, just personally. I don't know where the time went, but we've done amazing things, and I hope you all take a little time, celebrate the holiday in whichever way you see fit, spend time with your families, because you put in a vast amount of hours here, and I don't think the public realizes it. This just ain't for electeds, it's for staff as well. This city would not be in the position it is, and I say this all the time, if it wasn't, not only for the electeds, vision of where we got to be, but more importantly, our staff here in all departments. They just do a tremendous job. I put them up against anybody in the state. And that's why Oak Creek's in the position it's in. It's a credit to the men and women that work here. So, well-deserved some time off. I wish you a blessed holiday. Be safe, be happy, be well, and we will reconvene. There's nothing more. Motion for adjournment.
Fritz will move to adjourn.
Bork seconds.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Marshall. Aye. Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Night, everybody.